Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare, dumbed down by Ariana Garcia. Once upon a time, there was this guy named Hortensio traveling to the city of Padua with his servant Tranio. Unexpectedly, Hortensio had a slight change of plans when he saw Bianca, an elegant girl who had caught his eye. Blinded by love, he walked towards her, but as he was approaching, he saw that two other figures were talking to her. One was a tall fellow named Hortensio, and the other Gremio, both trying to court the fair maiden. Thankfully, Bianca's father, Baptista, came to his daughter's rescue. To fend off the men, he made a rule that Bianca is not allowed to court until her elder Shrew sister, Catherine, is married. Hortensio and Gremio weren't the biggest fans of this rule. Baptista and Bianca headed home after that whole fiasco, but left Hortensio thinking of ways to get closer to his little crush. He soon thought of dressing up as a Latin tutor to spend time with her in disguise, while Tranio dressed up as him to try to persuade Baptista of letting him marry his youngest daughter. He started his master plan right away, but little did he know that Hortensio, the tall guy who was trying to court Bianca, was hatching the same plan. Filled with wonderful thoughts, Hortensio merrily skipped home. As he came closer to his house, he found his good friend Petruchio and his servant Grumio waiting at his door. Petruchio noticed his bestie and immediately ran towards him. After they reunited, Hortensio asked why his good friend was here in the first place. Petruchio replied that he traveled to Padua to find a wealthy girl to marry and become rich. Hortensio thought it was a pretty solid plan, and soon realized that he could use it to his advantage. He would have Petruchio marry Catherine, and since she would be out of the picture, he would be able to marry Bianca. He told his companion about Bianca's sister, and Petruchio agreed to marry her. Not too far there was a fellow named Bianca, who was also a servant of Hortensio. He soon found his master and Tranio in opposite clothes for some reason. He asked why they had traded clothes, so Hortensio told him all that had recently happened and how he has a plan to marry Bianca. After processing the words his master had spoken, he laughed, then agreed to help him. Hortensio and Hortensio soon left for Bianca's house, hoping to woo her into loving them. The thing is, they didn't know that they had the same plan, so they weren't expecting another person. After an hour or so of supposedly tutoring her, Bianca was called in by a servant, so she joyfully got up and left, leaving the boys by themselves, and soon with her father. As they were trying to tell Baptista why they were there, Petruchio burst through the door looking for his soon-to-be wife. He didn't see her right away, but when he looked over, he saw the love of his life beating up a servant. Confidently, he walked up to Catherine, expressing his emotions, but as the anger-filled girl she is, she rejects him. Despite the way she treated him, Petruchio still ended up proposing to her. The next day was their wedding ceremony. However, Petruchio was nowhere to be found, until he showed up extremely late, not to mention that he was wearing the most randomest of things, just to embarrass poor Catherine. The priest said the marriage stuff, and Petruchio and Catherine were officially married. After the wedding, Gremio and Tranio wasted no time asking which one of them could marry the lovely Bianca. Overwhelmed, Baptista said that whoever is richer shall marry his daughter. Gremio started to brag about the houses and animals he owned, but his riches were no match for Tranio's master's soon-to-be wealth. Instantly, Baptista shook Tranio's hand in the agreement of letting him marry Bianca. Soon Petruchio, Catherine, and Grumio arrive at their house in Verona, filled with Petruchio's many other servants. As Catherine was judging everything, she looked over and caught her husband burning her bed and saying that she couldn't eat. He explained that he was doing this because he loves her. Catherine doesn't buy it and insults him even further. Petruchio, starting to get annoyed, said that she may eat and sleep until she fully loves him. Back in Padua, Tranio and Baptista were talking over the wedding arrangements, when Baptista curiously asked to meet Tranio's father. Since Tranio and Bianca didn't have a person to be Hortensio's dad, they thought that they should take the situation to Hortensio himself. Somewhere else in the house, Hortensio asked if Bianca wanted to marry him. She agreed, but both of them were loudly interrupted by Tranio's and Bianca's cries of help. The servants ran over to their master, telling him the situation that they were in. Plainly, Hortensio just told them to find a random guy on the street to play his dad. Respectfully, they agreed. Back in Verona, Petruchio's manipulation is starting to work on Catherine, for she said the words, "I love you" out loud so that she may eat. Lovingly, Petruchio allowed her to consume her food. On the streets of Padua, Bianca found a random dude to be Tranio's fake dad. At first, the man was weirded out by the question, but soon agreed when they mentioned paying him. Tranio brought the man to Baptista's house and introduced him as his father. Unexpectedly, Lucentio's real dad, Vincentio, showed up for real life. Not knowing who's the real father of Tranio, Baptista just kinda gave up. Luckily, Lucentio had turned up at the right time to settle things. He explained his plan to everyone, and why Tranio was pretending to be him. He also mentioned that he had already married Bianca. Baptista was pretty chill about that, but they still needed a party to celebrate. They invited their friends and family to the after party, and everyone had a blast. Towards the end of the celebration, Baptista had an idea of seeing whose wife is better. Lucentio placed $2,000 on his wife, being the best, but Petruchio placed $20,000 on Catherine. Lucentio sent Tranio to fetch his wife, but Bianca told him that she was busy at the moment. Hortensio sent Tranio to get his wife next, but his spouse wanted him to come to her. Smugly, Petruchio told Tranio to bring his wife, and to everyone's surprise, she came to her beloved. Now everyone knows that Petruchio had somehow tamed the shrew.